All right, thank you. I'm here today to tell you about a special type of hero I call the heroic mentor. And I believe it should be you. Now, chances are when I talk about mentors, the first thing in your mind is a picture of an older person helping a younger person in need. Now, this may look like an old man with a really long beard, or maybe something more realistic like a college student helping out at an after-school program. In reality, those images of mentorship are not that far off from the type we see in the hero's journey. But there's a special type of hero that goes beyond the call of duty. They're the ones that are beyond just altruism, because in general we consider mentorship to be altruistic, meaning the mentor is just giving out of their abundance with little or no expectation in return. Chances are you've seen, let's see if there we go. Chances are you've seen this image of the hero's journey, this diagram. If you're not familiar with it for some reason, it outlines the basic principles of moving from a bystander to a hero as you transition from the call to adventure into the unknown. And tucked into this diagram is where we find meeting the mentor. Here it is assumed that the mentor is the one passing out knowledge and giving little tokens of wisdom and words of advice, and then sending the hero on their way. But over the past few years, I've been studying the real-life stories of long-term heroes. And what I've found is that their mentors are more than just a stop on the journey. You see, becoming a hero is an immersive experience. You're guaranteed to have trials and struggles and failures along the way. And heroes need support constantly. They need outside perspective to keep going. In real-life heroes, their mentors are there often for the entire journey, or most of it. They're not just a stop. And on top of that, the real-life hero, sorry. So the real-life hero has a mentor that chooses to walk with them throughout the journey. I'm going to tell you the story about a guy named Bob. Now, any story that starts with a picture of a guy getting booked into jail is going to be good. See, Bob's story starts about as far as you can get from where he was when he took that picture. Bob's father and grandfather were robe-wearing members of the Ku Klux Klan. But by the time he was a senior in college, Bob had become one of the first white Southern students to join the civil rights movement. And as he went through that journey, he went into some of the most violent and segregated places in the South. And with other students, he helped organize nonviolent sit-ins, integrated marches, and voter drives. They faced tons of threats and brutal violence. And at one point, Bob was even beaten unconscious during a failed lynching attempt. And yet, when he recovered, he chose to continue. So if you're like me, you're probably wondering, how did Bob get from a Klan family to a die-hard civil rights activist? Well, if you look at his story, you'll see two things pop out right away. The first is, Bob chose to take action whenever there was opportunities to stand for what was right. And the second, he had mentors throughout his entire journey. You see, heroism is an immersive experience. And Bob's story is an example of that. When we often tell the story of heroes, the story we tell is this: the solitary hero on a journey with just a pinch of mentorship. But in reality, this is what mentorship looks like on the hero's journey. These are all people identified from Bob's memoir who played the role of a mentor either to Bob or to somebody else. There are people in here who help him see opportunities to act and take them. There are others who help him learn from the actions he took. There's still more who picked him up when he got knocked down, and a few who mentored right in the thick of things. So we're going to zoom in on Bob's story and see some of this in action. Bob's parents, with the help of their mentors, were able to escape the Klan, and this enabled them to become a rare source of support for Bob. In college, Bob and 4 of his white classmates, known together as the Huntington Five, risked being kicked out of college just to meet with Martin Luther King Jr. and hear more about the African American perspective on education, on segregation, sorry. While they met, it was Martin who recognized that these guys were heroes in waiting. So he connected them with Ralph Abernathy and Rosa Parks. Together, Ralph and Rosa helped move the boys from a position of inquiry to a place of action. But Rosa had to call Bob out. And at one time she said, "Bob, when you see something wrong, you have to do something about it. You can't just study it forever." Soon after, a woman in the South, also standing against segregation, named Ann Braden, took Bob under her wing. She was a rare example of what it looked like to be a white Southerner in the civil rights movement. Bob says of Ann, "If it was Rosa and Martin who convinced me to join the struggle, it was Ann who showed me how to do it." Ann was also instrumental in helping Bob connect with the leaders of the SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. It was the early years of SNCC that helped Bob develop his own heroic traits and test them. Other SNCC members, such as James Foreman and Julian Bond, took Bob with them as they went on this journey. And they modeled heroic character traits, such as courage, compassion, and sacrifice with humility. So Bob did have many traditional mentors in his life, but it was the ones who were living out their heroic journeys who had the greatest impact. See, a heroic mentor is not someone who went on a journey once upon a time and now sits in a dusty hut waiting for the next random hero to walk by. A heroic mentor is someone who is actively living out their own journey. They're choosing to go on adventures and develop their own character. And as they do, they look around at other heroes who are doing the same thing. When they cross each other's paths, they take the time to come alongside each other and help out. Lifelong heroism cannot be sustained without a mentor or multiple mentors. Mentorship provides the accountability and the encouragement that is needed to avoid the traps of pride, distraction, and despair. Lifelong heroes need this type of mentorship. So my question to you is, what steps can you take towards heroic mentorship? Well, no matter where you are in life, you can do at least one of these. Whether you're young or old, you can consider your experiences. All of us have examples of experiences and knowledge that we can share. You may need to just sit and think about it and consider, what do you know? What worked? What didn't? And why? Another thing you can do, if not already, is to get in motion. Is when you're in motion that your character is developed as you're traveling down this path. And it's also when you're traveling down this path that you're more likely to cross paths with other people doing heroic things. Finally, if you are on your journey, look for other heroes in need. Look for those taking action. And whether the little or big things, come alongside them. Find a way to help them out. Be the one to initiate that relationship. And finally, whether you're confidently walking out your heroic journey or you're still trying to figure out where to get started, you're going to need a mentor to keep going. Take the risk to reach out and ask someone to mentor you. Share with them your goals and your fears. and take the time to listen to what they have to say. Because when we choose to seek out mentors and be mentored, we help each other become stronger heroes. So this weekend, as you consider what your next heroic step may be, choose not to be a solitary hero, but choose instead to stand on the shoulders of others and let others stand on yours. Thank you.
The Hero Roundtables are the global events that ask the question, what is a hero? You've just seen one hero talk. To find more and join the conversation, visit our website or social media.